So I just got finished completing the survey that Princess Cruises sends out after you finish your cruise. And I thought I would share with you what we really loved about our cruise, the things that we didn't like that much, because I think that that is something important. And of course, the safety, how things worked from embarkation through disembarkation on our cruise. Hi there, I'm Ilana from the website lifewellcruise.com. Welcome back to my channel. Now, if you are planning to cruise with Princess, then this is a video that you're definitely going to want to see, because I'm going to share with you a little bit of our review, but really most importantly, I'm going to share with you some tips on how to kind of make the best of cruising right now. Now, before we get started, I have a little favor to ask. If you like this video, if you find it helpful, informative, or enjoyable in any way, then please do give the video a big thumbs up. It really does help me out and I appreciate it. And of course, please subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. Let's get started. So firstly, starting off with the protocols and with safety and how things worked for embarkation. So in terms of the protocols, as you probably know, when you are cruising with Princess, this is a fully vaccinated cruise. So there are some children on board, but really not that many, because of course they do all have to be vaccinated. Now, as well, when we were inside the cruise ship, we did need to wear a mask everywhere unless we were eating or drinking, and of course if we were outside or on our balcony. So when we were just circulating around the ship on the elevators or even in the shops, really everybody was pretty compliant and was wearing their mask. And I do think during this time, because we did cruise at the height of Omicron, that this was a way that we did feel a little bit safer. Now, for embarkation, what we were able to do was use our Medallion Class app, and we were able to choose the time that we wanted to embark. Now, we chose the 11:30 time, and just something to note is that about 30 days before your cruise, this is going to open up. So make sure that you do keep an eye on that and snap up that embarkation time that you do want. Now, like all cruises that are leaving from the United States, you do need to be tested within the 2 days before your cruise. So if your cruise leaves on Saturday, you do need to be tested either Thursday, Friday, or Saturday morning, provided of course that you do get those test results back before your cruise. Now, right now, this is an antigen test or a rapid test. Now, what we did is we actually used those Buy Next Now tests. So those tests that you can actually order and they can be sent to your home. Now, even though we are in Canada, we could not get them in Canada. What we did is we had those sent over to relatives that were in the United States, but you could also get a test at your Walgreens or your CVS. Now, that was something that we did as well. We actually made some backup appointments at one of the pharmacies, just in case we did end up needing it. And in the case of Walgreens, that test was available, that appointment time, about 1 week before our cruise. And we did need to use a US address, but other than that, we had absolutely no issues, even though we were Canadian. Now, when we did get to our cruise and we did embark, it was obviously different from when we had embarked before. But as much as we were really nervous for it, we really had no reason to be nervous. We did have to show our proof of our vaccine. We had to show our negative test results. We just had those saved on our phone. And in our case, we picked up our medallions right at the port. That was quick and easy, and we were on board probably by about 12 o'clock. And really, other than the fact that we were wearing masks, the embarkation felt pretty normal. Now, I don't want this video to be all about safety and COVID, because I really do want this to be a good review with some tips, but I will spend just a moment talking about the safety on the cruise ship, because this is something that we observed throughout the entire cruise. So everybody, of course, is vaccinated, as I mentioned, but the crew is vaccinated as well. And we were told by many of the crew that they've actually been boosted as well. They also were always wearing either N95 or KN95 masks at this time, something that I think is maybe a little bit unfortunate for the crew, but maybe understandable. They did tell us for a certain amount of weeks, I'm not sure if it was 3 or 4 weeks, that they really weren't allowed to have any staff gatherings and things like that. So really to try to minimize the spread of this virus. Oh, and something else that they told us is that they have been tested every 3 days. Now, I know we just talked about testing, but if you are Canadian or if you are an international traveler, I will talk about the testing at the end of your cruise if you do need that to return back home. I will talk about that when I talk about disembarkation. Okay, so moving on from safety and COVID, let's talk about the cruise and some tips that I can share with you. So first of all, we were on the Regal Princess. Now, I was actually surprised to find out that this ship was built and first sailed in 2014. You really wouldn't know it. The ship is in absolutely beautiful condition. The ship was gleaming. It was so clean. So that was definitely something really good. Now, the cabin that we were in was a deluxe balcony cabin. Now, I always find that Princess Cruises cabins are not the most luxurious cabins in the world, but they're functional, they are nice. Now, in this case, the deluxe balcony cabin does have a small love seat. We were 3 in the cabin, so that love seat became like a hide-a-bed. So that was pretty handy, but it was a nice size. And of course, in the Princess Cruise cabin, you have that open closet, which I love. So for overpackers, that is just a great separation, a great space that you can use to hang up all of your clothes. The balcony was quite nice. We were on deck 9 of this cruise ship towards the aft, and we really didn't feel a lot of movement. We had a really nice cruise on the most part in terms of movement. Now, something that I did want to mention when you are choosing your cabin, because this was something that I was not aware of, is on deck 9, we ended up finding out that on deck 9 on starboard side where we were, there was an entire section that was closed off that I guess were the quarantine cabins. So this is not necessarily a bad thing, but it did mean that we weren't able to walk all along our hallway. So it would have been better if we were on the port side or maybe on a different deck. So when you are reserving your cabin, maybe just check what else is there and where they are quarantining people and closing off those decks. So you just don't have maybe that inconvenience that really we kind of had. Wasn't the end of the world, but it is something to note if you can choose. Okay, should we talk food? I love talking about cruise food. And this was some of the very best food that we've ever had on a cruise. Really, the food, in particular in the main dining room, was really good. We had so many really good meals. I'm going to actually show you some of the meals that we had in the main dining room. I will say, try the seafood bisque, try a lot of the soups. They were absolutely delicious. A little tip is the fettuccine alfredo. It is available as an appetizer size. It is like a princess classic. It is absolutely worth it. So good. We probably started most meals off with that. The shrimp cocktail was always good. The only thing that I will say about the princess menus is that sometimes there's a menu that just isn't as appealing as some other nights. And unfortunately, on our first night, we had a menu that was less appealing. When we did look at like the meat choices, because my husband and son particularly like steak and meat and roast beef and that kind of thing, the meat choice we were told by the waiter was a beef chili. Now, in my opinion, beef chili just doesn't belong on a main dining room menu. Please let me know if you agree or if you disagree with that. But that is kind of some feedback that I gave on the menus to Princess Cruises. Otherwise, really, the menus were really good and the food was very tasty. And I have to say, the service was so good. The waiters were very accommodating. Another little tip that I have for you is if you do decide to get, let's say, a beef, maybe a steak, something like that, but if you also still want to try a shrimp or a lobster, you could actually combine dishes. And they were really accommodating to bring like a lobster tail to make our beef dish like a surf and turf. So that's definitely something that they will do on Princess. And I would definitely try some of the different meals that you would like to have together. We were actually sitting nearby people that told us what they would do is they would order a larger portion of the fettuccine alfredo and then they'd order the salmon and then make it like a salmon fettuccine alfredo. So that is all something that you can do on Princess. Now, other restaurants that were also really good on the Regal Princess, the poolside grill. It seemed like they updated the menu there. That was really good. A lot of really good choices, including an absolutely delicious grilled chicken sandwich, really good. And of course, the French fries aren't bad either. My son would always get these loaded chili cheese fries, but so good. And the pizza. The pizza is delicious on Princess, as delicious as ever. And one thing I did want to mention is we did start off our embarkation day. We did eat at Alfredo's. That is a free or an included casual Italian restaurant. It was absolutely delicious. So I definitely urge you, whether it's on embarkation day or later on in the cruise, definitely this is a restaurant that you must try. Now, when it came to the buffet, I have to say I didn't find it necessarily as plentiful as it seemed in the past, but maybe it's just the way things were displayed. But that being said, whatever we asked for, the crew went out of their way to make sure we had what we wanted. In particular, there was a morning I was looking for grapefruit, and the staff did bring the grapefruit out to me when we were sitting outdoors. Another morning I was looking for eggs Benedict, and the chef made it fresh for me right in the buffet. So the service, I have to say, is absolutely incredible on the Regal Princess. Now, you might be wondering about Ocean Now. And Ocean Now is that sort of delivery service when you order drinks or when you order food, that you order that from your phone or from your stateroom TV, and that can be delivered to you like anywhere on the cruise ship. This is something new for Princess, and I was really looking forward to trying it out. It was really good. We had ordered some nachos and guacamole. One day we were in the very back of the ship, and we ordered, I think, a couple of glasses of wine or a couple of drinks. It was so nice. That was brought out to us in maybe 10 or 15 minutes. It didn't take long. We also ordered Ocean Now or room service to our cabin. There were times my son ordered like an egg sandwich for breakfast, or late at night a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. And they came and they brought that, and they even bring drinks to wherever you are on the cruise ship, and this worked really amazingly well. Now, overall, everything that I've been letting you know so far has been really positive, but I do have a couple of like really kind of honest reviews where maybe I had a couple of, I don't want to say complaints, but some things maybe I just thought they could improve upon. So one of those things are the drinks. Now, I'm not complaining because we had a lot of drinks and things were still very good. But because now the menu is pretty much like on your phone, it wasn't necessarily easy to access menus like right at the bar. If you did ask though, they would give you a paper menu. But I did find that the menus for the drinks maybe is just something that they'll be working on. I didn't find it very, very plentiful. And then even in terms of the drinks, because sometimes I was trying to think, oh, what do I want to order? I found that the menu was maybe like they just had a few drinks. They didn't necessarily have a huge selection of drinks, but what they did have was still good. In particular, a little tip is if you do like a Bailey's type banana pina colada combination, the dirty banana is probably, I think, the best frozen drink on the menu. Now, as well, we always like the mojitos on Princess. The only thing is, after about, I think it must have been 4 days or so, they did run out of limes, and they did let me know that they were making their mojitos with lemons, but this really could be just a supply chain issue, which we were told by a lot of the crew members that they definitely have. I mean, it is a pandemic, so I did think that we kind of needed to be understanding about that, but I did get them to make me another little drink. They're so accommodating. I had made like a citrus mojito, so it was with oranges and pineapple juice and some coconut rum. Well, they made it for me, and some mint, and it was really, really good. Now, we did have Princess Plus. I will leave a video maybe at the end of this one all about Princess Plus. This is such a good value. I definitely think it is something to consider if you are going on a Princess cruise. Now, in terms of the entertainment, this is usually something I really enjoy on a cruise, the evening entertainment, the daytime entertainment, and really during this time, we did find that the entertainment was a little bit lower energy than what we had experienced in the past. However, the cruise director, Natalie, was a lot of fun. We really did enjoy some of the game shows that were in Princess Live. That's definitely a highlight for us. Some of the shows that were in the theater, there was a comedian, there were magicians during our cruise. They were okay. They were, I guess, good. It probably is just a matter of what you enjoy and what you don't enjoy as much. So I'm sure that that is subjective. Please let me know if you've been on Princess, what you think of the entertainment. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Now, we had been used to on Princess in the past some of the poolside games and a live band playing or a DJ. at the main pool area, and we definitely missed this on this cruise. There was a bit of a game show thing. I think it's with Fortuna, one of the characters that they have on the cruise, like a trivia, but it just didn't replace to me that real high energy that you usually have even with the poolside volleyball games. But I really do think this is just something that is during these times. I'm sure that that will all be something that will come back. Other things that were not on this cruise were the waterfall champagne, I think also because of COVID, unfortunately, but there were really so many still really nice things. We really did enjoy the cruise. We spent a lot of time at the adult pool just relaxing, and I think now, since it's been such a hectic couple of years, we really did actually appreciate that. Now, in terms of the itinerary, I don't think we could have asked for better. We were really so lucky because we were supposed to have 4 ports on our 8-day cruise, and we ended up with 4 ports. Now, there was a little bit of a change. We were supposed to be going to San Juan. That was replaced instead with St. Thomas, so that didn't bother us at all. And we ended up going to St. Thomas, St. Kitts, Grand Turk, and Tortola. Beautiful ports. I ended up doing a couple of excursions, one in Tortola, really good. Follow me on Instagram for all of the details, or on Facebook. I will definitely share them there. In St. Kitts, we loved it. And in Grand Turk, we absolutely loved just getting off at the port, just relaxing at the Margaritaville. It was a really nice stop, and probably more pleasant than we even had imagined. I had been there about a decade ago when it first opened, and we were so happy to be back. Now, I cannot talk about Princess without talking about the medallion net and about Ocean Medallion and what we thought. Now, overall, this app is just getting better and better. And we did find the service on the cruise ship, because of that app and the way the service is so prompt. Really, really, this is an absolute plus. However, when it came to the medallion net or the internet, this was actually not as good as it had been in the past. We did have some times where we had some difficulties with logging back in. It didn't always keep our connection. So I'm not really sure 100% why. I do know that the staff were extremely helpful. When I did have an issue, they were really, really good to help me solve that. Now, I have to say, I wanted to disconnect on this cruise, so it didn't really bother me, and I really didn't have a problem going onto Facebook or just checking my emails. But if I needed to really work on this cruise ship, I'm not sure that it would have been as good as I thought it could be based on our previous experience. Now, please let me know if you've used Medallion Net, what you thought. Was it as good as you thought it would be? Was it maybe just me? Maybe it was just my phone and my connection. That could happen. So please let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Now, I think I covered quite a lot, but I did want to talk about Disembarkation. This was probably our best disembarkation experience. And maybe I should have talked about this earlier on in the video as well, but there is that safety drill, that sort of e-muster that you don't have to go down and gather all together. That was also really a plus on this cruise. And the disembarkation, it just seemed like it was so much better organized than in the past. We didn't have those crowds waiting. We basically walked right off the cruise ship at somewhere around 8 o'clock or 8:15. We left our cabin and we just headed out. A little tip is on disembarkation day morning, instead of heading out to the buffet or even the main dining room, consider ordering room service and just staying in your cabin and just leaving right off the cruise ship to avoid some of those crowds. So we had no problem at all disembarking. Now, for people that are international travelers, so like us, we were going back to Canada, Princess did have complimentary testing right at the cruise port, so right as you walked out. Now, something that you do have to do is head over to guest services unless you get a letter in your cabin. We didn't get it, so we went over to guest services on our cruise, and we did ask about it. And basically what we had to do was we did have to register online for the app, and basically we registered for an appointment. It didn't seem to matter what time your appointment was. You could just head over to the testing, and they were doing that right at the cruise port. And then within about an hour or so, you did get the test results by email. So overall, we really did have a very good cruise. And I think, considering that it was our first cruise back after the pandemic, we had made a good choice. I think we really felt quite safe and secure given the situation. I think you can't be 100% safe anywhere, but we really did have a very good cruise experience, and we're very thankful to Princess for that. Now, I do have more videos coming out with Princess Cruise Tips for 2022. And I will be sharing also some hints and tips on what you should do to make your embarkation day the very best embarkation day ever. So please make sure that you are subscribed to the channel so that you can check that video out and others when they do come out. So I hope that you did enjoy this video. I'm going to leave a video right after this one all about Princess Plus, because this is definitely something that you should know about before your next Princess cruise. If you did enjoy this video, please do give it a big thumbs up. I really do appreciate it. And of course, please subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. Bye for now, and happy cruising.